As autumn's grip on England slipped away, winter began to settle in. The cold temperatures began to take hold and snow started to fall. Due to recent strikes in coal mines around the UK, coal reserves dried up and steam sheds began to ration coal. However, two collieries that served the Pine and Warrborough route were not operated by the National Coal Board. Both collieries supplied good quality steam coal, about equal to the good quality Welsh steam coal. The sheds at Warrborough and Newton knew this and used the coal for the typals at the MPDs. Usually, engines that were allocated to the area brought these coal trains to the goods yard, where the coal trucks would be distributed to the MPDs. Neil was one such engine. Built by the old London and North Western Railway in 1921, Neil was designed for heavy goods and mineral traffic in the northwest of England. After his tenure in northern England, the G2A was moved to North Wales for work in the coalfields, and then was reallocated to Kingmore Sheds for work over the Waverley route. In 1955, Neil was allocated to Warrborough, and from there, he stayed. In early December, Mr. Wardsman came to address his fleet.
Due to the recent strikes, Granton and Buthwaite collieries will be supplying several depots of coal, as well as Warrborough and Newton sheds.
And I take it we'll be working overtime to keep up with demands then?
Indeed, Stuart. Neil, Lisa and yourself will be working very hard to keep up with the workload, but you will have to help.
What do you mean, sir?
Before the Warrborough Shedmaster could explain, an LNER V2 rolled into the sheds.
It's good to be back.
Peter, how good to see you again.
Likewise, Neil, my lad. Now, who's this, then?
This is Stuart, a temporary resident here, and this is Lisa. She's here to help with a number of duties.
Ah, I see.
Yes. Well then, Peter. It's good to have you back. You'll be tackling the coal trains of Stuart, Lisa, and Neil.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
The four mixed traffic engines were put to work immediately. Tyler and the other shunters had arranged their trains accordingly. Peter was assigned to the Great Central Wind Cutters, a train made up of vacuum-fitted coal wagons. Stuart hauled fast freight and coal trains bound for the Midland and Scottish regions. All the while, Lisa and Neil handled local deliveries, as well as delivering coal to sheds in close proximity to Warrborough. Henry had also returned to Warrborough, having been in Leicester for the past few months. Together, they managed to keep the schedule and fill every order sheet. A few days later, an unexpected and unwanted visitor returned to Warrborough. Defiant was brought in to cover Peter's expresses to Leamington Spa while he was busy with the wind cutters. No sooner had the engines seen him, the haughty castle started his ranting again.
Staying in the sheds with commoners from an inferior region? It's a disgrace!
George, who was working coal trains to Bristol, backed down next to him. And here I thought they'd fix your personality at Swindon.
Pah! You of all engines wouldn't understand. We Great Westerners have a reputation to keep. To share a shed with engines from these lower regions is a disgrace to our heritage.
The only disgrace here is you.
Why don't you run along to the goods yards where you belong? That's the kind of work you were built for, so why don't you tend to it?
Big green boastful piece of scrap. During his tenure at Warrborough, Defiant had single-handedly managed to insult every single engine at the sheds. Even his fellow Great Western engines were tired of his prejudice towards the others. On the morning of December 12th, Defiant was waiting for his coaches to be shunted. 5764 was busy arranging Stuart's coal train, and Tyler was collecting old pieces of rolling stock from the sheds. The castle watched as Tyler pulled a few old plank wagons away from the sheds.
Come on, I have a train to take. Just leave those trucks there and be a good engine and get my coaches.
Just a minute, I'm almost done.
But Defiant had had enough of waiting and steamed forward just as Tyler rolled over the set of points leading to the sheds.
Oh, for the love of old oak common, you bloody tosspot. I'd call you something worse, but the scriptwriter up there won't let me.
Defiant had damaged his pilot truck and trapped Stuart in the sheds.
Oi, you stupid prick! How am I supposed to get to my train?
Mr. Waterman stormed up to the castle.
I honestly don't know what to do with you, Defiant. I bring you back with the impression you'd be a different engine, but it appears I cannot trust you. I will write my reviews later, telling the Western region exactly what I think of you.
And without another word, the Warrborough Shedmaster walked away to make some arrangements. Neil had just been serviced by his crew and was waiting to return to the sheds when he saw Mr. Waterman walk up to him.
Neil, Defiant has collided with a rake of old plank wagons in the sheds and trapped Stuart, and his train is due out soon. Can you please take it down to Carlisle?
With pleasure, sir.
Mr. Waterman watched as Neil headed north for Carlisle, knowing that the old engine would make it on time. It was late afternoon when Neil reached Carlisle, and that evening he double-headed a goods train back to Warrborough. The old engine backed into the sheds next to his friends.
Welcome back.
Thanks. Feels good to be back.
Yeah, the shed foreman at Carlisle rang earlier. He told us you got there. A whole 5 minutes early, too.
I was diverted via the set in Carlisle, so that shaved off some time, I guess.
Neil, you've done me proud.
The engines all looked and saw the shed-master.
The foreman at Carlisle has told me you made it there on time. Without that coal you delivered, operations at Carlisle would have ground to a halt.
Just do my duty, sir. That's all it was.
The engines and Mr. Waterman agreed.
Very well said, Neil. Now then, you'll...
Mr. Waterman smiled and turned on his heel. The engines chuckled and started to drift off to sleep. They knew that tomorrow would be another busy day.